The bedroom mirror reflected Sienna's careful preparation, her blonde waves cascading over bare shoulders, golden fox ears twitching with anticipation beneath artfully toused hair, her sleek tail swaying with each movement as she fastened delicate earrings. The crimson dress clung to every curve of her hybrid form, cut daringly low and ending high on her thighs. I watched from the doorway, my heart cracking with each passing second. "Going somewhere special?" My voice emerged steadier than I felt. Her cat-like ears flattened briefly, guilt perhaps, before she straightened, meeting my eyes in the reflection. "Just meeting an old friend for drinks." The lie hung between us like smoke. She'd never dressed like that for me anymore. Her tail, usually so expressive around me, remained carefully neutral. 3 years of marriage, and I could read every subtle signal her hybrid features betrayed. The way her foxy ears angled away when hiding something, how her tail went rigid when nervous, the slight dilation of her golden eyes when excitement thrummed through her veins. "Sienna." I stepped closer, catching her jasmine perfume, the expensive one reserved for special occasions. "We both know that's not true." She turned, her dual heritage making her movements impossibly graceful, feline fluidity mixed with vulpine quickness. "Don't start, James, you're being paranoid." But her ears twitched backward, defensive. "I had found the messages last week. Can't wait to see you in that red dress. From someone named Devon. You deserve to be worshipped properly," followed by details that made my stomach turn. I'd said nothing, watching her preparations tonight with growing certainty that my worst fears were materializing. "What time should I expect you back?" "Don't wait up." She brushed past, her tail deliberately avoiding contact. Once that tail had always sought to touch me, wrapping around my leg in affection. Now it might as well have been a stranger's. The door clicked shut. I stood in our bedroom, surrounded by her scattered makeup and the fading jasmine scent, and made a decision. I wouldn't rage, wouldn't beg, wouldn't humiliate myself by following her or making scenes. Instead, I walked to my laptop, opened a new document, and began organizing my thoughts with clinical precision. Bank accounts, property, the evidence I had quietly gathered. If Sienna wanted to walk away from our marriage, I'd let her walk away, but I'd walk away with my dignity intact and my future protected.
She returned at 3 a.m, lipstick smudged, her blonde waves disheveled in ways that spoke volumes. Her dress was wrinkled and her tail dragged behind her, the telltale sign of exhaustion mixed with guilt. I sat in the living room, lamp casting shadows, a cup of cold coffee on the table beside printed bank statements and phone records. "You're awake." Sienna froze, her fox ears immediately pinning back against her skull. "Hard to sleep when your wife is with another man." I kept my voice level, almost conversational. Her golden eyes widened and her tail bristled involuntarily, the hybrid reaction to being caught. "James, I know about Devon." I gestured to the papers. "I know about the hotel reservations, the gifts you bought with our joint account, the lies about working late." Each word landed like a stone in still water. "I know everything, Sienna." She moved toward me, graceful despite her obvious discomfort, her hands outstretched. "It's not what you think. He makes me feel alive again, seen. You're always working, always tired, and we haven't—" She stopped, her ears flattening further. "We haven't been intimate in months," I finished for her. "Because every time I tried, you turned away. Now I understand why." The pain in my chest was physical, but I refused to show it. You were saving yourself for him. Tears gathered in her eyes, making them shine like amber in lamplight. "I still love you." "No." I stood, maintaining distance between us. "You love the security I provide, the home, the life. But love?" I shook my head. "Love doesn't do this, Sienna." Her tail wrapped around herself protectively, a gesture from childhood her mother had once told me, when Sienna felt vulnerable. "What are you going to do?" "I've retained a lawyer, filed preliminary divorce papers. Tomorrow, I'm moving to the guest house." I watched her fox ears shoot up in shock. "The house is in my name. You have 30 days to find alternative arrangements." "You can't just—" "I can. And I am." I walked past her, catching one last breath of jasmine mixed with unfamiliar cologne. I won't be the man who tolerates betrayal, who begs for scraps of affection. I deserve better. And honestly, Sienna, so did you. But you chose this path.
The guest house became my sanctuary. Small, efficient, mine. I threw myself into transformation with focused intensity. Early morning runs turned into gym sessions. The weight I'd gained from years of comfort and complacency began falling away, replaced by muscle and renewed energy. My colleague, Nina, a sleek panther hybrid with midnight fur and knowing emerald eyes, noticed first. "You look different, James. Lighter somehow." Ending things that don't serve you tends to have that effect. We were reviewing contracts over lunch, and I caught her assessing gaze lingering. "The separation rumors are true then," her tail curled with interest. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. Best decision I've made in years." She smiled, revealing sharp canines. "Then maybe you'd join me for dinner this weekend? Just friends, of course. You seem like you could use friendly company." I consider her offer. Nina was intelligent, successful, attractive in her own right. But more importantly, she represented possibility, life beyond Sienna. I'd like that. Word spread quickly in our social circle. Sienna's friends reached out trying to convince me to reconsider. "She made a mistake," they pleaded. "She's devastated. She ended things with Devin." Too little too late. I remained unmoved. What they didn't know, what Sienna was discovering, was that Devin had been using her. The successful businessman was actually married with 2 cubs, looking for excitement on the side. When Sienna tried to deepen their relationship, he'd ghosted her completely. The irony wasn't lost on me. Meanwhile, I continued building my new life, reconnected with old friends, took up hobbies I'd abandoned, started therapy to process the betrayal and understand my own role in our marriage's deterioration. My therapist, Dr. Okafor, helped me see patterns I'd ignored. "You accommodated her distance," he observed during one session, "stopped initiating intimacy to avoid rejection, created a self-fulfilling prophecy." So I should blame myself? No, but understanding your part helps you avoid repeating patterns. He leaned forward, his gray-streaked beard thoughtful. You can't control others' choices, only your own responses. That wisdom anchored me as Sienna's texts grew desperate. "Please, can we talk? I made a terrible mistake. I miss you." I responded only through my attorney. Clean, professional, final. Each ignored message was another step toward freedom, toward becoming the man who wouldn't settle for being anyone's safety net, while they explored other options.
3 months after our separation, I encountered Sienna at a mutual friend's gallery opening. She looked diminished somehow. Her blonde waves less lustrous, her fox ears drooping slightly, her tail lacking its usual animated swish. The crimson dress from that night was replaced by something conservative, almost apologetic. Her golden eyes found mine across the room, widening with something between hope and fear. I was there with Nina, whose sleek confidence drew appreciative glances. Not officially dating, we'd maintained our just friends boundary, but the ease between us was evident. Nina's hand rested lightly on my arm as we discussed the abstract paintings, her laugh genuine and warm. Sienna approached during a quiet moment, when Nina had stepped away. "You look well." Her voice carried notes of loss. "Really well." "I am." No embellishment needed. "James, Her ears flattened, that old guilty tell. "I've been in therapy, trying to understand why I did what I did. Dr. Morrison says I was self-sabotaging because I didn't feel worthy of genuine love, so I—" "Sienna." I kept my tone gentle but firm. "I'm glad you're getting help. Truly. But your journey towards self-understanding isn't mine to facilitate anymore. Tears gathered in her eyes. I know. I destroyed everything. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I need you to know I understand now what I lost. Not the house or the security. You. Your steadiness, your kindness, the way you used to look at me like I hung the moon. Devon was a fantasy. A stupid, destructive fantasy that cost me my reality. And I appreciate your honesty. I meant it. But knowing what you lost doesn't change what happened. You made choices, Sienna. Night after night. The lying, the cheating. Those weren't mistakes. They were decisions. Nina returned with fresh drinks, her emerald eyes quickly assessing the situation. She handed me a glass, her presence supportive without being possessive. Sienna's gaze moved between us, recognition dawning. You've moved on. I'm moving forward, I corrected. There's a difference. She nodded slowly, her whole body seeming to collapse inward. I hope you find happiness, James. Real happiness. You deserve it. Without waiting for a response, she turned and walked away. Her tail dragging, ears low, the picture of genuine regret. Nina touched my shoulder. You okay? Yeah, I really am.
6 months post-separation, the divorce was finalized. I stood in my attorney's office signing the final papers with steady hands, feeling nothing but relief. Sienna had been fair on the settlement. Perhaps her guilt had something to do with it, or maybe she'd genuinely grown. Either way, we'd both walked away with dignity intact. That evening, Nina and I finally crossed the boundary we'd been dancing around. In my now permanent residence, a modern loft downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows, we shared wine and conversation that gradually shifted from friendly to something deeper. I've been patient, she said, her emerald eyes holding mine. But James, I need to know, are you ready for this? For something real? I set down my glass, moving closer. I was ready the moment I chose myself over staying in something broken. My hand cupped her face, thumb tracing the soft fur of her cheek. You've been incredible, giving me space to heal while showing me what genuine care looks like. Her purr vibrated through her chest as our lips met, gentle at first, then deepening with months of restrained desire. Her midnight fur was silk beneath my fingers as I traced the curve of her spine, feeling her tail wrap around my waist, pulling me closer. I won't betray you, she whispered against my mouth, her claws lightly grazing my shoulders. Careful, controlled, intentional. I know. And I did. Nina had proven herself through patience, to respecting boundaries, through showing up consistently without demands. Our intimacy that night was everything my marriage hadn't been. Present, passionate, mutual. Her body responded to mine with honest desire, her purrs mixing with gasps as we explored each other slowly, thoroughly. No guardedness, no hesitation, just two people choosing each other with clarity and intention. Later, as we lay tangled together, her head on my chest and tail wrapped around my leg in contentment, my phone buzzed. A message from Sienna. I saw the divorce was finalized. I'm truly happy for you, James. You deserved better than what I gave you. I hope you found it. I showed Nina the message. She read it, then looked up at me. Have you? Found better? I kissed her forehead, breathing in her subtle sandalwood scent. I found myself first. Everything else is just beautifully unexpected. She smiled, purring against my chest. Good answer. And for the first time in years, I felt completely, genuinely at peace.